Ladies and gentlemen, I have just finished watching the Nintendo Switch press conference that they had yesterday at, it was around 8 p.m. West Coast time, 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. East Coast time. They showed off the Nintendo Switch console and some of the features that they'd been talking about. They went into more detail. And they also did show off a handful of games that they kind of mentioned they were going to talk about. Legend of Zelda, stuff like that. It was overall a really good press conference. I enjoyed it. Got a little slow in the middle when they started bringing out the third-party developers. Sega, a little random, they came out and just said, hey, yeah, we're looking forward to developing for it, and then just bowed out. It was a little bit strange. And then we had Todd Howard come out and talk about making Skyrim for the Nintendo Switch, which is something we already knew about. We had Suda51 come out and also kind of do what Sega did, just saying, hey, we're making some stuff for it. He did say No More Heroes 3 would be getting released for it, so that's really cool. I played the first No More Heroes, and that was a fun game. I would like to see a new iteration in that. Never played the second one. There were a couple of things about the games Nintendo showed that I was a little concerned about. Well, I say a couple, but really just one big one, and I can't think of anything else that really bothered me. But first, let me talk about the things that I really enjoyed. So the system itself looks really, really good. It looks really easy to take around, which I know is exactly what they were going for. But only needing to plug it into an HDMI slot and plug it in using a 12-volt adapter, which is something that most people have laying around by the dozens at this point. You just plug that in to the wall and then plug it into the TV and you're good to go. I really love that. Looks super easy to get set up anywhere, and then being able to just have it sit on its stand and pop the controllers out. That looks really great. The controllers themselves, I was a little concerned about, wondering about the size of them. And it was a little funny when you had the developer for those controllers come out and say, look, it fits perfectly fine in your hands. And it looked like his hands were cramping up trying to hold it. But then they did immediately show that you can get a wrist strap for the controllers, which does seem to kind of widen the controller out a bit. So people with bigger hands, or just most adults, should be able to use it comfortably, it looked like. And it was great design that the wrist strap connected onto the controller and then also added the L and R buttons on top of the L and R buttons that are already built into the controller. So this way you're not losing any usability by having that installed. Really great idea. Love the design of that. I love the colors they showed. The blue and the red controllers. That was really cool. So I am definitely looking forward to the system itself. Now, for the games that they talked about, obvious one, Zelda Breath of the Wild. That looked so good. I'm really excited to see that it looks like they're really going for a classic fantasy adventure with it. Now, that's always been the Zelda games, but they've always had a bit of an arcadey kind of feel to them, which didn't get in the way of that, but it looks like with this one they are going for a much more story-focused game, and I'm interested to see how they handle their open world. And it looks epic, I guess is the word I would use for it. It has a really large scale to everything, and I'm really excited to see how that plays out. It looks beautiful. I love the art style, kind of a nice mix between Skyward Sword and pushing a little bit more towards Twilight Princess, so kind of somewhere in between. It seems they found a nice sweet spot. And they also showed off ARMS, which I thought looked really fun, actually. It was presented in such a strange way because I was prepared to think it was kind of silly. Their demonstration for it with the one businessman and the schoolgirl coming out and fighting each other. A little ridiculous at first, but man, once they got going with it and they started showing the gameplay of it, I got really excited for that. It looks like a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out kind of game, except, I mean, it's going to have online, which is really cool. And then the stretchy arms and all the different characters and stuff. It looked like it had a lot of character to it, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And it might be one of those games that is going to tide people over until we inevitably get a new Smash Brothers. So I'm glad actually to see that they're releasing this and trying something new. And if it doesn't work out, then you've got Smash Brothers coming out, which will take the place of the #1 fighting game on the Nintendo console. But hey, it's great to see them trying something new. It looks like a ton of fun, looks like a great party game, so I'm definitely excited for ARMS. And then they showed 1-2 Switch, or was it 1-2 Go? I think it was 1-2 Switch, but I'm not too sure right now. But it was basically the equivalent of Wii Sports and whatever it was that came with the Wii U. Nintendo World or Nintendo Land. So it's going to be like the main game that everybody gets who buys the system. And this one was really interesting because they were saying it's not actually designed for you to be looking at the screen while you're playing. You are actually supposed to be facing your opponent, and then the game will tell you, like, okay, draw, and whoever draws quicker wins that round. And it almost looked like a mix of WarioWare games, but you play them using these motion controls and sensors, and you're competing directly with somebody right in front of you. So I thought that looked really cool. Again, I'm glad it's being paired with the Nintendo console. This does seem to be a thing that Nintendo is doing, which is really good because the Nintendo Switch, even more than the Wii and the Wii U, there's a lot of usability, it looks like, with the controllers and with the system. They've got the sensors on the controller, they've got the gyroscope, they've got kind of the rumble in there. So there's a lot of stuff in that controller that I think people are going to need to get used to again, just like they did with the Wii. And I think 1-2 Go or Switch or whatever it was called, that I think is going to be a good way to get people reintroduced to a lot of these ideas. And it just looks like fun. I think it looks like a lot of fun. I'm interested to try it. And then for the thing that I'm sure a lot of people are going to be talking about, you probably know what it is that I'm going to mention if you watch the press conference. Super Mario Odyssey. Yeah. So when they announced it, they showed just a city of New York, and it didn't look very good. Everything was kind of flat. The people walking through the streets looked like PlayStation 2 era, early Xbox 360 kind of stuff. Really not great. And then Mario jumps out of the sewer, and it was the most surreal experience. And then you saw him running through New York City, and it was just so weird. And then they showed him taking like a helicopter to different worlds, or some kind of spaceship that took him to other worlds. So it looks like what they're trying to do is how Mario Galaxy was about going to different planets, Mario Odyssey will be about going to different dimensions, which is cool. I like that idea. The problem is that those dimensions, if that's really what they are, they look right now really inconsistent. And especially that New York one, that New York City really threw me off. I got a very heavy Sonic 06 vibe out of that, which I really don't think is something that anyone wants to be associated with. So we're going to have to see how that one goes. Now, what I will say, the actual running around and jumping and platforming, using his hat as kind of like an extra jump in midair, stuff like that looked really cool. And the actual gameplay of it looked great. And when you saw Mario running around these more fantasy environments that we're used to, that looked really good. I liked that. Those underwater areas looked great. It all looked really cool. It was just that New York thing, and they focused on it for a while, like a weird amount. I mean, it was the way they introduced Mario, and it took up maybe a third of the trailer, and then the other 2/3 were like different, like 6 or 7 different dimensions. So it was pretty prominent that it was going to be a fairly large part of the game, at least from this trailer. But we'll have to see. Like I said, gameplay-wise, it looked really good. I can't think of the last time Nintendo made a bad Mario game. I guess people would sometimes say Mario Sunshine, but personally, I really like that game. So I have faith in Nintendo. I don't think that they're going to let a Mario game come out and not be great. I'm just really skeptical about it. Okay, everyone, and those were my thoughts for the Nintendo Switch press conference. Overall, I thought it was really good. They released a lot of good information. I'll leave a link down to it below. And yeah, there should be some more press conferences coming out in the next, well, I guess the next month or two. It releases on March 3rd, so that's really not that far away. So we should be getting some information soon. Yeah, so that does it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the press conference. And I will see you all next time.